Hey, welcome to the Maximum PC No BS podcast. This is episode number 203, recorded today on May 20th, 2013. On today's must listen to and watch right over here show, we have graphics wars heating up between AMD and Nvidia. Shit is getting real. PC building projects we're currently working on. We might dabble in some Steam trading cards. We'll tackle your questions, show you our picks, and we will rant. Thanks for listening. Let's do it. All right. So my name is Josh. I am Senior Editor, and I'm your host for this podcast. We are both doing audio and video right over there, so I hope the feed looks good for you guys. We did two cameras last time, but I don't think we ever used that rear camera at all, and we tried to arrange the camera so we could all see, you could see us all. So I hope it looks good for you all. All right, so I'm here today with our intern Chris Zele.
Hello.
And I have it written down here, Editor-in-Chief Tom McNamara.
Well, yes.
But the thing is that since
things have progressed quite rapidly in the last week or so since you last book.
That's right. Well, Editor-in-Chief Catherine Stevenson is actually busy right now. So this week of the cycle, this is our third week of the cycle right now. So first week we're like taking the long lunches, going to the taco trucks. Second week we're kind of like we should start doing some work, and then third week just now we're kind of like we're actually working really hard. So both Jimmy Thang and Catherine have skipped out on the podcast today.
Well, they're working hard.
Yeah.
That means, what does that say about us? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, we have to do this, and no, we want to be here, but we're trying to keep it to a schedule. We have basically a bi-weekly schedule right now. Oh, also Gordon Ung. There's also an editor here named Gordon Ung. He's not here today.
You may have heard about him.
Yeah, he's not here. He's out of town. He's like on some.
He's at a wedding.
Yeah.
Sabbatical.
He's on sabbatical right now, and. He'll be back soon, but we couldn't do the podcast any other time of the week just because next week is Memorial Day, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, thanks for listening. We'll try and make this as entertaining as we possibly can. So let's do this. Before we jump into the topics here, I'd like to go over our iTunes reviews really quickly here.
How many do we have now?
All right, so now we're up to number 401, which is awesome.
Nice.
We just finally peaked 400, so that's
Nice.
cool. I'd like to first give a shout out to a guy. His name is Double E in the Air. Give us 5 stars. And this is a very heartfelt review. Please listen. He says, I've listened to the podcast for years and was really disappointed when you stopped for a few months. Now you pretty much have a new crew, and they're a bit green, but that's okay. Try to let us into your personality a bit more, and we'll become friends too. Sometimes the grind gets a little old when you're reviewing the same video cards and processors, but I do like to learn from your experiences with the products. I do find it refreshing when you review some topics that you normally wouldn't touch, like cameras and new technology. Keep up the great work. If you enjoy what you're doing, we will too. Then finally, in all caps, he summarizes saying, don't even think of changing the intro theme music. It's a classic. Now, I don't know if we had thought about changing the intro music. Maybe we have. It's been around for a while.
No, you can't change it. It's good. That's like when I first started listening to the Maximum PC podcast, and like I was super into it in college because I found a website and a magazine, and I was like, this magazine covers everything that I like. I was like, man, that brings me back like 3-4 years ago.
Wait, what do you mean you started listening when you were in college? You're still in college.
When I started college. When I started college.
He's making it sound like, oh man, back in the day, that was awesome.
Well, when I was like a freshman in college, like early.
Those were the days.
Hey, I'm gonna be a senior next semester, so I'm just saying, like, I started freshman year, and like now it's like, I don't know, it's something that I remember, like when I started listening to the podcast, it was just on it.
Wait, you're a junior in college right now, and you're studying. What's your major?
International business.
International
Nice.
business.
So
why are you interning at Maximum PC if your major is international business?
Because he wants to come back here in 5 years and buy the company.
Well,
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know. It's like I went into college, and my parents were like, "You have to choose a major," and they're like, "You're not going in undeclared because you're just going to be stuck in college for like 10 years, not knowing what you want to do."
That's tough because when you're 18 years old, I mean, how do you know what you want to do with the rest of your life?
Yeah.
You know, I think there's some 18-year-olds who have a long like 5-10 year plan, but most people are just like, I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm too far to like, go back. I'm too far to like change a different major if I wanted to do something else, like, whatever it may be, like journalism, creative writing, something like that. Like, I can't change.
You could do a lot worse than a business degree. I mean, you could be working on like how to paint, like in arts and crafts, basket weaving.
All right, Chris's major is not for discussion on this podcast. We all know he's headed in the wrong direction.
or cutting it off.
Cutting it off. All right, so don't worry, double E in the air. We'll keep the intro music just the same for now. I like to find these. I actually have not been able to find a negative review. If you go to iTunes and you sort by most recent, they're all new. And if you go sort by most critical, the last negative, it ignores their time and just sorts them by level of negativity.
We actually have a special team of people who hunt down the people who write negative reviews. That's actually why Gordon's off today. He's over in Spain, actually taking care of somebody right now. So, word to the wise.
Gordon doesn't do that. He hires people. So, anyways, I have gone through. There are a lot of negative reviews from the podcast's kind of spotty record over the years. But so I have some. There's some fertile stuff for there, but it's not really us, and it's the older. Anyways, but I did go through and find one. I thought it was pretty funny. Here it is. So there's a guy named AJSAIZ, 1-star review titled UGH, and he wrote, "These guys have to explain to one another how to use Firefox. One dude went off on some story about when he was in IT and almost electrocuted himself. The story was not only deadly boring, but had nothing to do with anything they were talking about. This is the IT team that the three stooges would hire. Meh, M-E-H." So,
is he talking about our podcast?
No, this is from like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I don't remember that happening recently.
Yeah. I have not been able to find any good negatives for the most recent podcast. So if you guys want to go, don't leave them on iTunes. Email them to us. All right.
We have a standard of excellence here.
Well, I don't want them to. If you leave a negative review, it'll bring our rating down. So don't do that. But email us if you can. MaximumPCPodcast@gmail.com. All right. So I do have one other. This is a comment left on our website. This is by a person named Alice Alka. She says, "My friend's aunt makes $63 an hour on the internet. She has been without a job."
I actually saw this post.
Yeah, for 8 months, but last month she paid $18,000 working on the internet for a few hours. Go to this website and read more, and then there's a link there. So just so you guys know, we see these bullshit links all the time, and like
somebody left that as a comment on our podcast on iTunes.
No, this is on our website.
Okay.
But anyways, so just so you guys know, if you go to our website and you see these comments by people saying make money from home and like, is this the best website? It certainly is, and like all these random spam posts. Like, we have things in place to keep these things out of there, but they obviously are not working. So we're in consultation with everyone who's involved, and we're trying to figure it out.
Right. Yeah. Right now we're kind of going through those posts manually and just deleting them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. When I have some downtime, I just go through the articles and I delete all the spam and all that stuff.
And that seems to be the only type of spam that we get is just the work from home
or the WoW cloud and all that other crap.
Really, I haven't seen those. I guess
well, I'm always going through and trying to delete as much as I can.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
Yeah,
just graffiti.
Highly annoying. So we're aware of it. We're trying to fix it. We have things in place, but they're not working. All right. Anyways, so let's get started at the topics here. So the first topic we have is the GPU war. So not a whole lot of information there, other than we're going to be releasing this podcast on Thursday, the May 23rd. The May 23rd is the date that the GTX 780 from Nvidia is going to be released under, its embargo will be lifted per se. So, is there anyone who's surprised by this card at all?
Well, walk us through first what that card is about.
All right, so the GTX 780 is basically the so let's just we can step back for 1 second if you want. So last year GTX 600 series are released, Kepler, right? New architecture, very energy efficient. They start out with the 680 flagship, which is based on a silicon called GK104. It's basically when they designed Kepler, they released two versions of Kepler. So they basically released GK104, which is a small die for the gaming crowd. And they also released a huge die called GK110 for the compute crowd.
This is for supercomputers.
For the Tesla GPUs.
Right, so yeah. Tesla. So Tesla had GK110, which if you follow NVIDIA's nomenclature, the 110 or the 10, the X10 part is always the full implementation of whatever architecture they're working on. So back when they had their Fermi cards, they had GF110, which was the 580. and then GF 104 was like the 560. I might be getting that.
I don't remember.
Something like that, but basically the 110 was the big one, 104 was the little one.
So the Titan, where'd the Titan fall?
So GTX 680 comes out last year, and surprise, surprise, it's GK 104. So everyone's like, where's the 110? You know, and then it seems like they had sort of eyeball. This came out right after the HD 7970 was launched. So when the 7970 was launched, it seems like Nvidia kind of looked at that card and thought, here's what we need to beat that card. You know, this is all we need. But obviously these things take a lot of time to manufacture and everything like, oh, so it's not. Anyways, so GTX 680 came out, and it was just a little bit faster than the HD 7970, way better on power and consumption, on power, power and noise, heat consumption. I mean, the Kepler stuff is really, really efficient.
And then came the 7970 gigahertz edition.
770 gigahertz edition came out after that, and it sort of, here's the funny thing about these GPU wars is once that sort of initial conflict takes place, people's minds are kind of made up. So I think that even though the 7970 gigahertz edition it's a teeny bit faster in a lot of tests, it's like the difference is really, really close. Not enough to really drive people one way or the other. And I think that most people, once the 680 had already sort of beaten the original card, they have said, screw it, 680 is the best card there is.
It also seems like at that price level, people have already made their decisions as to what brand they want to stick with, generally speaking. At the $600 to $750 to $1,000 level, you have the people who stick with Nvidia or the people who stick with AMD. There doesn't seem to be a lot of bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, if you spend that kind of money on a GPU, you'd have to be seriously swayed. You have to have some crazy amount of advantage in order to bring you to another camp.
Yeah.
So basically Nvidia was winning, and then Nvidia released 690 dual GPU, which is was the most powerful GPU ever. And there was no response from AMD.
It was two 680s on one card.
Two 680s on one board. Then they came out with the GTX 670 to go up against the 7950, and then they followed that with the 660 Ti, then 660, then 650 Ti, then 650 Ti Boost. Meanwhile, AMD is just sitting there doing nothing.
Well, I mean, they made the 7790, and they
did the 7870.
But I mean, that's pretty much it.
So anyways, the last month, 7790 comes out. And they go to when they gave us their presentation, they named like 4 different things that they were going to get the 650 Ti. So they were like, here's how our card is better than the 650 Ti. These 4 things, and then as soon as we get that card, Nvidia goes, oh, by the way, here's a new card we have, 650 Ti Boost, and it basically addresses all 4 of those issues.
Yeah, AMD's pitch was that it had the superior card at every single price point, and so Nvidia would respond by coming out with a card that was just a little bit faster each and every time, it seemed like.
Right. So at that $150 price range, GTX, I know we're wildly off topic right now, but we'll be there in 1 second.
We're coming back around.
At $150, the Nvidia card is faster than the GTX 650 Ti Boost is faster. But the fly in the ointment is that the HD 790 includes a copy of BioShock Infinite. And they're pretty darn close in performance, so my recommendation is to go with the AMD card.
And even if you already have Infinite, you can go onto eBay and sell the key for like $20-25, I think.
Yeah, Infinite actually went down to like $40 on Amazon.
I saw some other deal. Anyways, so yeah, those cards are all getting interesting now too. The 7870 and that whole. Anyways, so at this point we're sitting there waiting around. Oh, and then AMD releases the 7990 dual GPU.
Yeah, the official reference 7990.
So that's pretty cool, and it got okay reviews. It was definitely quiet, definitely fast, but their frame latency problems right now are kind of dogging them. And no one out there would probably buy that card over a GTX 690, despite the 8-game bundle that they're including. So right now, I think it's kind of like a Cold War. They seem to have sort of settled into their bunkers on both sides. There was a story last week, 2 weeks ago, about how that there's some famous engineer from Apple was going to go back to AMD. He was there previously, Raj, something or other.
Raj Patel.
Gordon mentioned it. It was a big deal. Then today there was a story that this guy named Sean Peltier had he was running NVIDIA's review program for journalists. He was controlling their messaging, their go-to-market strategies, all that. He had left and gone to AMD.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
so they're poaching now.
They're poaching, and so it's things are intensifying.
Yeah,
things are intensifying. So hot on the heels of all that stuff, 7970 gigahertz edition, and no clear winner at the $500 price point. You could kind of flip a coin there. Nvidia has released this card. Okay, so actually we actually got off track. So GK104 goes out, and that's their flagship card. So eventually we come to the end of the year, and where are we going to go from here? We're waiting for the 7 Series cards to come out, which we thought might be in our tech preview. We stated that GK110, which is their big Kepler, their full implementation of Kepler, 2800 CUDA cores. GK104 GTX 680 has 1500.
And 6 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, so the GK110 is quite a different animal compared to GK104. So in our tech preview last year that we wrote that they have GK110 already in the market. It's being sold to people as Tesla K20X.
Well, those are for like supercomputers, right? Like doing compute,
Right.
doing like compute and like graphics stuff.
And it's the R&D on the drivers that makes the card so expensive.
Yeah.
Because the drivers have to be impeccable because they're building planes with the stuff that they're rendering on these video cards. They're building buildings in 3D, and these buildings, everything has to be 100% perfect.
Yeah, they're using CAD and like all this kind of stuff. Yeah, the drivers are made so that, because one of my friends, he's doing like engineering. He says, yeah, the drivers basically render everything so that it's as exact as possible. Yeah. And like normal video drivers, they just try to render shit as fast as possible. Yeah. So
that's not all the way true though. If you watch Tomb Raider, if you look at Lara Croft's her body and the way it moves throughout the game, it's kind of funny. It's like a joke, I know, but they obviously have spent a lot of time making sure that certain the way. I mean, she's basically like wearing like a tank top and like Daisy Dukes in that game. Right? It's not exactly like explorer apparel, but then she has her hair flowing and stuff like that. It's just kind of funny.
She's still not quite as overtly sexualized as she was in recent the older Tomb Raider games.
They like scaled her back a tiny bit.
The older games, her waist was like tiny, and then her upper area was
massive.
The upper area is still fairly noticeable, but now it's
All right, so they come out. So anyway, out of nowhere, they're like GK110 is now a gaming card, which we said that they would never do that just because the GPU is too expensive, too big. Excuse me. So, anyways, we were wrong, and they did that. So then Titan comes out. It's about double the size of a GK104, GTX 680. Quite a bit faster. I mean, it's the fastest single GPU card by a huge margin.
And how long is it? Like 10.5 inches?
I think it's 11 inches.
Yeah, it's not for its performance.
Oh wait, you're right. 10.5 inches. You're right.
Yeah.
It Titan's 10.5 inches. The GTX 690 is 11 inches.
Yeah.
And HD 7990 from AMD is 12 inches.
Yeah.
GTX 680 is like 10 inches.
Yeah, it varies because they can actually, the vendors can actually modify the boards and whatnot. So you can get some pretty short ones there, or some long ones.
So Titan comes out, and we're like, wow, but it's $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like, who's going to buy this? But it turns out even Nvidia's surprised by the level of sales.
Yeah, Nvidia came out last week, said they were really surprised. Although they've told us before that they would sell all the Titans. These really high end cards always sell out, always. And we asked them at their meeting we had with them. I said, how big is the market for these cards? Is it 2% of the market? And he said, way smaller than that.
They'll never tell you exactly how many units they sell. It's just when it comes to video cards with AMD and Nvidia, this is always like a closely guarded secret, like how much money they're actually making.
Right. So we're not going to go into our full review. So anyway, so Titan comes out. It's fast, and then we're all sitting around just kind of waiting for the next generation of cards to show up.
Yeah, and what form are they to come in?
Yeah, what form? I mean, because so all along in our tech preview, we said that Kepler has just been released. Same with the 28 nanometer technology the ATI is using called GCN, Graphics Cards Next. Both ATI and sorry, I'm getting mixed up with my old brands. Both AMD and Nvidia are on their 28 nanometer process right now. They are not going to run that for 1 year and then ditch it for something brand new. It's not possible. So what we're doing, so last year was sort of the first iteration of those cards. Now they've matured their processes. They're going to be releasing, generation 2 cards this year based on the same exact processes. We're not going to see, Broadwell or whatever. I think that's what Nvidia's next cards are called. Same with AMD. I think
that's Intel.
Oh, is that Intel?
Yeah.
Intel after Haswell, it's Broadwell.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of the next Nvidia, whatever. Maybe it's Maxwell. Anyways, doesn't matter. Whatever's after Kepler is not going to be here until 2014. So this year we're still stuck with Kepler, although this year is 2nd generation Kepler process.
And so the 780 is based on, what's it based on?
780 is based on GK110. So basically, this is at the very top of their market, Nvidia is still Titan.
Yeah, for single GPUs.
Yeah, single GPUs, Titan. Now, that's $1,000. Down at around $500, we still have GTX 680. And then in between those two, we don't know the pricing yet because we're recording this on Monday, is GTX 780. So it's somewhere in between. It has 2304 CUDA cores. It's 28 nanometer GK110. It's got 3 gigs of RAM. 384-bit memory interface, 6 and 8-pin power connectors. It's basically like a miniature. It's just a very slightly neutered Titan.
Yeah, well, it has half the RAM. That's probably the biggest thing. But other than that, it's not. It's underclocked and has fewer shader cores, I think.
Oh yeah, sorry. Clock speeds are 860. I want to say it's 8. I don't have it right in front of me. The boost speed is 900 megahertz. I know that much.
I don't know offhand what the standard clocks are for the Titan.
Yeah, I think it's around 836, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Titan. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, so GTX 780 is coming out, and as you would imagine, based on its price and its the fact that it's less than a Titan, it is basically right in between GTX 680 and a Titan.
Yeah.
It's significantly faster than GTX 680. It's pretty darn close to Titan, but I mean, it's not near. I mean, it's literally right there in the middle, right where it's supposed to be.
But if you can overclock it a lot, and you can get within spitting distance of a Titan, it might be a good value compared to a Titan. The question is, like, how much demand is there for such a high-performing video card right now?
Sorry, clock speed. I said 836. I have like this weird, what do you recall where you mix things up? This is 863.
Number dyslexia.
863. Yeah, 3 gigs of RAM. It's a fast card. So here's what this card has that you've never seen before. Number one is there's a fan. So it has the GPU Boost 2, which means you can set the temperature control in the software. So you can tell the card, here's how hot you can get. Period. And then the card, when it gets to that temperature, it'll start downclocking itself, or whatever you want to call it, underclocking itself.
Yeah,
It'll start throttling itself.
I think a Titan already does that. And
The only card that does that is Titan.
And I think it's set to like 81 degrees is the upper limit by default.
Right. That's what it's set into in EVGA Precision X. When you fire it up for the first time, by default it sets itself to 81 degrees. When I asked Nvidia about that, they said you can go up to 95. The card is fine. So
that's pretty hot.
Yeah. So basically, but the difference is if you want your card to be absolutely silent, you can just set it at like 80. It'll basically be quiet always. It will just sort of stay there. Or if you want it to be even quieter, just move the temperature even lower. It'll always control itself. You cannot do that on any other Nvidia card. So that's number one. Number two is it has a new the way the fan spins up is really interesting. They found that this is called adaptive fan technology. This is brand new.
Just on 780.
This is on 780. Yes. What they found is that people don't really notice so much, and I think this is true. We always take these PR points with a bit of grain of salt. This sounds true to me. They said that they think that people, they don't necessarily hear fan noise as much as they hear fan noise changing. Right. So when you fire up a game and you hear your GPU fan spin up, you hear it. Mm-hmm. You can definitely hear that. Once it sort of sets into its rotational speed, you don't really hear it as much. So what they've done is they've basically smoothed out that ramp up. So on these cards, whereas a card it might have taken 4 seconds for the card to go from 1500 RPM to 3000 RPM, now that takes place over the course of like 9 seconds. So you really don't even hear it spinning up. So then once it actually gets up to where it's going, you almost like it does seem a lot quieter. So that's pretty cool technology. That's on this card. There's also another thing they have that's brand new. This has never been seen before, called Shadow Play. Now, have you guys heard anything about this at all?
Doesn't ring a bell.
All right, so this is something that we haven't been able to test it either, but this sounds pretty cool. So here's the scenario. You're playing a game. Like I was playing Far Cry 3, and I wrote this in my review, where I was driving along a road just on a mission. I was just driving along, and all of a sudden this car comes up over the hill, and it's the bad guys, the guys wearing the red shirts. Mm-hmm. So I see these guys the last second, and I think, oh shit, here they come. And then, but it's so late that they just start shooting at my car, like as they drive by, and they're all, hey, fuck up. Like they just like go screaming and stuff, and they go flying by me. And I look at my car, and my car is like smoking at this point because they just shot like 5 rounds into the engine block. So I'm like, oh shit. So I get out of the car. I go, all right, I can't drive this car anymore. I pull out of the car and I sit there and I look down the road, and the guys who went by me, they're now pulling a U-turn, right? They're gonna come back, but I'm up on like a ledge, like one of those high ledges on like an island. So I'm sitting there watching them, and all of a sudden they come driving towards me, and they just fucking careen off the side of the mountain, right? They're really bad drivers sometimes. They just drive off the side of the mountain, and like you hear this like explosion. They're all screaming and stuff. So I go over there and I'm like, whoa, those guys, like that's pretty funny, right? So as I'm sitting there staring at these guys, I turn to my left. I hear another car coming in the other way. So this is also full of bad guys. You know how a lot of times in that game, like backup just shows up out of nowhere all the time. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this car coming towards me, and I'm thinking about how am I going to deal with the situation. Just as the car pulls up, my car explodes. Right? Because at that point it had been sort of simmering. Right? It had been smoking for like 35 seconds with like the engine block on fire. My car explodes, and it kills all the guys in that car too. Like it was just awesome. So how cool would it have been to have that recorded, right? It would have been awesome. But obviously I wasn't recording, and I know it's just the story. But anyways, so what Shadowplay does is Shadowplay will basically record everything that happens to you in a game behind you at a certain interval.
Oh, I think the
That's pretty cool.
PlayStation 4 is supposed to have a similar feature.
Something like that, yeah.
Like the most recent, like 30 seconds or 60 seconds.
Yeah, you can set it to, I have, like I said, I have not seen it yet, so I don't want to be making promises that aren't in the software, but as I understand it, you can set it to 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Very cool.
Whatever you want. And it'll just continually record behind you and then cut it, and then delete things that are no longer, that fall out of the shadow, so to speak. So,
That's
and
good.
this is, supposedly this will be available on any Kepler card. Because Kepler has this, so the files are stored. So the reason this technology was brought to the fore was because, if you're using Fraps, you have to record everything and then just wait and hope something cool happens, then edit it out of the middle part.
And it's uncompressed, so it takes up a ton.
Tons of space.
It's like you can have a couple of videos that are like 30 gigs, and you played for like an hour. It's like insane.
I think MSI Afterburner has like a video recording that it does on the fly and compresses on the fly, but I haven't seen that option in the most recent versions.
Yeah, I've only used Fraps, and basically but it's a total crapshoot. You have to hope something happens, and then you have all this. I mean, it does not work. So the Shadowplay is pretty interesting, and basically it uses the built-in H.264 encoder in Kepler. It compresses all the files. They take up very little space. Nvidia told us that it would consume roughly less than 5% of system resources while it's running.
Not bad.
Jeez.
So should be pretty awesome. Now, we're still not sure what the price is, but we're guessing. I'm going to guess $750, $700.
Well, they can.
You know what? I might even say $800. It's close enough to a Titan that it's definitely closer to a Titan than it is to a 680.
If it's the fastest, if it's the second fastest GPU in the market next to the Titan, then they can pretty much price any way they want because there's no competition.
Yeah, but I'm wondering. I don't know about AMD's high end, but they have their Fire Pro cards. And, I wonder if that's going to push them to, scale down those higher-end, supercomputer cards and then try to do the same thing NVIDIA's doing. Because NVIDIA's already done it, so why don't they do it?
I don't know how different physically the Fire GL cards are. Are you looking that up right now?
No, I'm not. Go ahead.
But that could be an option.
AMD. So here's what's going to happen is that. So what we've seen so far is this back and forth has really been happening. That's what's been happening is back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, 9 months ago we thought AMD was kind of just silently hanging out in a cave or something like that. I don't know. They seem to be pretty active lately, so I'd be very curious to see if they're going to fire back at some point.
Well, they've been pretty aggressive with those game bundles. I think they added a 4th game to each tier, the second and third tier.
Mm-hmm.
Like the 7800 series is one tier, 7900 series is the third tier, and then 7700 series is the first tier. The second and third tier.
They threw in Deus Ex, Human Revolution.
The second tier did not have Crysis 3, and the third tier did not have Tomb Raider or something like that. So all right, we'll just make sure all 4 games are available at the 7800 tier and the 7900 tier. So that's 4 games, and you can probably sell those on eBay if you already have them for like $50-$75, because people are like, well, I could buy the card, but I already have those games. So it's like, well, you're not stuck with the games. You can do things with them.
Speaking of these game bundles, when I met with Nvidia for this GTX 780 launch, excuse me, sorry. When I met with them, I asked them about that. I said, people are pretty happy with the Nvidia hardware. Driver situation is pretty good. What's going on with the game bundles? Because it seems like AMD has kind of locked that up right now.
Well, when's the last time we even saw a video card that was bundled with that many games? Like 3, 4 high-profile, fairly new releases. I can't remember the last time that ever happened. So,
I mean, usually they do like one game, and then it's usually the vendor that is like, all right, we're gonna bundle it. And then there are also other vendors who did like Far Cry 3. That was with like OCZ Vertex.
I mean,
drives.
if I was gonna argue for Nvidia, I would say, we have a one brand new game, and AMD's probably losing their shirt, because say like 10 years ago when 3D cards were the brand new thing, they were getting bundled with games that were certifiably old by the time they found their way into these boxes. So it's really unusual to have these pretty much brand new games in this bundle, which we have like separately sold for like $50-$60.
Yeah, well, AMD has done they've been really aggressive about that, and they've gotten, Crysis 3, Far Cry 3, Battlefield 4, what else is there?
Yeah, so the new one,
BioShock Infinite. I can't think of a single AAA title that came out in the last 6 months that didn't have AMD branding on it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so anyways, I've asked Nvidia about that, and they just said that's just them throwing money at the developers. It has nothing to do with their games being better than ours, or optimization taking place behind the scenes. The game comes out, they're and whatever hardware runs better on it is up to the hardware manufacturer, not the developer. Like he basically said we talk to these developers all the time behind the scenes. They have access to our equipment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And there goes the camera. The camera can't take the heat of the argument.
I think that's upside down.
Oh, it is upside down. Hold on a second.
We have some technical difficulties right now. Shit. Okay.
It's okay.
That's cool now.
All right, so
I think the camera's facing up. Yeah, we got.
Anyways, this is still Kepler. It's nothing. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to really talk about. It's a little bit slower than a Titan, way faster than a 680, probably about 15-20%. It's significantly faster. So all the people out there who have Titans are probably going to be royally pissed off that the 780 looks exactly the same. That is unfortunate for them.
They wanted to look about $250 worse or something like.
The thing is, though, there's going to be 780s will be coming out with aftermarket cooling. So the Titan was not available. I think Gigabyte made one. I saw something on Gigabyte's Facebook where they had made their own card, but I thought that was not possible. Anyways, Titans are, for the most part, all look exactly the same. They use Nvidia's design. The 780 is different, though. It will have aftermarket coolers on it. So that's Nvidia's answer to the 6 series. That's Nvidia's answer to Kepler 2.0. It's Nvidia's answer to, it's basically them starting off 2013 saying, here's our flagship board. We have Titan and we have this card. What do you have next? AMD. So AMD has its work cut out for it.
Yeah.
That is for damn sure.
Yeah, that's why it's like you're gonna release 8000 series and like you gotta pull something out that's gonna like match at least match a 780, and like that's real hard to do if you're using the same manufacturing process. How are you gonna match them? And like that's what I'm wondering. I'm like, holy shit! And like they gotta do something.
And where Nvidia is going, it opens up the possibility for dual GPU 780s, dual GPU Titans, which could make things even more interesting. I don't think we're going to see a dual GPU Titan just because the cooling on that thing would have to be ridiculous. Yeah, well,
and the price would also be ridiculous.
Probably like $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, you'd just be like, whatever, dude. I'm just gonna get 2 Titans and SLI them.
Yeah, 2 Titans and SLI is oh my god, it is so fast. Literally, like Titan is one of those things where you can pretty much put any game on it, even Crysis to some extent. you can pretty much throw any game on it, and it'll be like, yeah, no problem.
Well, at 4xAA, at 4xAA at 2560 by 1600. Yeah, it runs pretty fast.
Yeah, we need to investigate.
Titan.
I don't know.
We were talking about Titan and how fast it was, and my whole point was going to be, so Titan is like really fast because at 2560 by 1600 with 4xAA, you get 55 frames a second. Like, that's crazy. You can play something with AA on. Like, I can't play any games with AA on.
Really?
Like, well, most games, like if you want to have it at 60 frames or higher, like with a 660 Ti or even a 680, like you're getting to like 30 frames a second, and that's kind of, I don't know. I'd prefer to have more frames than have AA.
Well, what CPU are you using?
2700K overclocked to 4.5.
Okay, so that's right. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
That's not going to be bottlenecking anything.
Yeah, and then I have 8 gigs of RAM, 1600 megahertz. So I don't know. It's like, it's crazy. Like, it's AA just like destroys your frame rate.
Well, yeah, MSAA and super sample anti-aliasing can be pretty rough, especially as you go up in resolution, which is why I think we've seen a lot of transition towards SMAA, which is sub-morphological anti-aliasing. It looks really nice. It's a variant of FXAA, the post-processing filter. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't actually. I think it seems to work pretty well. It has the performance of FXAA while nearly the image quality of SSAA. So you can get an injector. You can download it. I'll send you a link. Works pretty nice. Lee. All
right. Well, that's the current status of the GPU wars. We're curious to see if AMD is going to fire back soon or not. We will find out. Let's. You know what? I think we were going to go in. We were going to go in and talked about our kind of personal projects we're working on right now, but I think we actually have a lot of reader questions. So if you guys don't mind, we'll just jump onto those.
No,
a lot of these kind of bring in some of the questions, some of the things, talk about other stuff.
Sure.
Anyways, and we actually usually can never get to the reader questions because we just have so many things we're talking about. So this is, even though this is only one topic, I think we spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so let's handle Twitter first. This is Ricky Pena says, will there ever be a mobile version of your website or an app? Thank you. Now, that's a question that's kind of hard for us to answer, just because I want to say probably not. We're still a magazine, so we sort of have like limited resources, and we sort of parcel those resources out sort of to the areas we think need them the most.
Mm-hmm.
So the first area is always the magazine. Second area is kind of the website. And there's not really a third area.
Not right now, no.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have like, there are, we do have these. It's kind of weird that we actually have all these digital subscription apps because we don't have anything to do with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And we have people on social media all the time saying, "Where's my issue?" Or like, people ask us customer service questions all the time, and we don't mind being the middleman for that. But on social media, it's my name is Josh. I'm the one who's on social media. It's not like there's some sales guy somewhere who's like, oh, this is going to be awesome marketing. Like, we're going to market on social media and spread our viral buzz message. Like, they don't. The editors are the one who do all the customer facing stuff. We don't. So there's not really any way for anyways. So people think that the editors are the ones who are in charge of the stuff. We're not. So, but in terms of app development and whatnot, we did make an app for Windows 8. Mm-hmm. Have you guys used that at all?
Oh, I don't really.
I've seen it. Yeah. But I don't use it.
It requires the ever popular Metro interface.
Yeah. Metro is kind of a pain in the ass.
Modern interface.
Yeah, I don't even
I call it Metro still, dude. I'm just like, fuck it. I've been calling it Metro for like a year and a half.
Yeah, it's either that or Metro/Modern. No, I just
call it Metro. Everybody calls it Metro.
Everybody knows what you're talking about.
When I talk to Gordon about it, I call it Metro too.
Yeah, because if you say Modern, he's like, modern what?
Yeah, he's like, oh, you mean Metro?
Yeah, exactly. So can we just skip through all that and just, anyways?
All right.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries. And sorry, next question. So the answer to your question, this is from Ricky Pena. Will there be a mobile version of the website? Probably not. If it will be, will there be an app? We already have an app for Windows 8. If there's an app for iOS, probably not. We're a PC magazine, and even though we have a lot of fans on iOS, we don't really develop an app.
Do we have an RSS feed?
We do have
No,
an
yeah, we do have an
feed.
RSS feed.
So
We at least have that.
Yeah, if you have a mobile app that does RSS, then you can check us out that way.
All right, so Logan is asking, I'm noticing that the rumored prices on the 780, GTX 780, when we just talked about, are $650. Does Nvidia think AMD is so done they can inflate prices?
Well, like I said earlier, if you have a card that doesn't have any close competition in performance, then you're free to price however you want, assuming that there's demand for it. You know, which
this is also, I mean, yeah, they can do, supposedly they priced the Titan at $1,000 and people bought those.
Yeah.
I mean, people want 690s and people have been buying 7990s.
It kind of surprises me because it seems like that's just a lot more performance than we need right now. I imagine like a year from now, when we start getting a lot of console ports from the new consoles, that we'll need some beefier hardware. But right now, it just
I don't know if you're really gonna need better hardware, because games like, I mean, I've said this a lot. I mean, people are probably gonna be like, yeah, he's just saying the same shit he always says. But like, games cost a lot of money to produce, and people don't realize that. It's like, to make a big budget game like Far Cry 3, you're spending like $60-80 million. Like,
we're talking about GPUs.
No, I'm saying like, okay, you're spending that much money to develop the game, right? I don't see developers spending more money to make higher fidelity games, and like, us needing, because it's gonna cost them more money to do that. So why would they want to make higher fidelity games? And like
the thing about graphics too is like, there's never been a more clear example to me than Crysis 3 coming out, and you look at that game and you're like, holy shit! I mean, like, everything looks amazing, but the game itself has no emotional, like, there's just you do not get involved in those characters, that story, or anything. I don't know. I finished the game just out of kind of morbid curiosity, like, how lame can this get? Like, what is the end gonna look like? And it was about as dumb as I thought it was gonna be. It was just like this. It was like this overly dramatic, like, prophet is now, blah blah blah, and this cutscene on the beach and all this stupid, like, anyways. And then you play like BioShock Infinite, which BioShock Infinite doesn't seem like it really has that good of graphics.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad, but that game really sucks you in, with the story.
It has a very good art style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, everything looked very soft and very glowy to me in BioShock Infinite. But that's sort of my point is that it's just, you don't really need graphics to really tell a story or make a game.
Yeah,
you don't. Crysis 3. So that Crysis 3, all the graphics in the world, horrible story in my opinion, of course. Horrible story. Nothing that really, would anyone ever finish that game and go on a message board and be like, I don't understand. Did Prophet, really work? No one gives a shit. But with BioShock Infinite, people were like, I actually got tired of reading all these posts about BioShock Infinite.
The theories of what really happened.
Oh my God. So many people were trying to figure it, because the ending of BioShock Infinite is really one of those things that just like wraps your head in like circles.
Well, it's like convoluted.
You need a flow chart like the size of the wall behind me.
Oh, it's like Inception. You don't know what happened.
It's like Inception, yeah.
Like, there's all this,
you're just like, God damn it.
There's all this parallel chronology and
as you're watching the end, you kind of go like, oh, and then you kind of watch for a while and you go, oh, okay, and then because the end takes like 15-20 minutes. It's not a quick thing.
That's a huge cinematic.
Have you
I haven't played it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's on my.
So then you go, and then well, I won't spoil what the end is, but yeah, eventually you're like, yeah, you go through it's just watching the end is an emotional roller coaster. But anyways, we're off topic. So the point is that Logan is that they can charge whatever they want for it. They said that they outsold the GTX 690, which has been out for over a year now. They outsold that with the Titan in less than 3 months.
Yeah, I think it's
that would indicate that the market was like, I want high performance. I have $1,000. I do not want to deal with dual GPUs.
Yeah.
So our guess is that, I mean, Titan will probably still sell. I mean, until like you said, until they have competition, why would they even? I mean, until AMD is going to come out with some sort of single GPU at $1,000, they can charge whatever they want for that.
Yeah. Oh, real quick though. My whole thing was I don't think developers are going to make games that are going to look way crazier because it's just going to cost way too much money. So if you're going to have like a 660 Ti, you're probably going to be cool for the next year or two.
Yeah. It depends on what their lead platform is,
Yeah.
So.
All right, so this is a question that All right, let's see here. This guy says, James Lai. Those are all the questions we had on Twitter. So now we're going to Facebook. James Lai says, I'm a bit curious as to what each editor's main rigs are. Who wants to start?
I recently just built a 3570K system with it's a Gigabyte Z77X UD5H, and it's inside a level 10 GT case. That's Thermaltake, right?
Yep.
Level 10 GT. It's a nice case.
Yeah.
Lots of room. It's sort of a not a full size full tower, but it's a large, nearly full tower size, and it has a GTX 680 right in there right now. DCU 2 top from Asus. It's a big 3-slot card, but I chose it because it's like really quiet, and it stays quiet. I'm one of those low noise type people, and so that's one of the reasons I got the case, is because it has 3 200mm fans on it, so those will stay fairly quiet even when they're pushing a lot of air. So that's pretty much the core of my system. 8 gigs of 1600 RAM.
Your SSD? Right? Did you say that?
Oh yeah, I also have a Neutron GTX in there, and SpinPoint F3 1 terabyte. Then I have like a 4 terabyte drive just for storing media and whatnot.
Just so everyone's clear too, most of the parts we have for these systems, we end up going out and buying. We don't call up Corsair and go, "Hey, I need an SSD for my home system," and then they go, "Right away, boss," and they send over like a 480 gig GTX or whatever.
Yeah, no, I bought the SSD and the hard drive, and there's an optical drive in there. I bought the RAM. Just off the top of my head, I bought the monitor, and that was like 175. It's like 23-inch IPS Dell S2340M. I bought the keyboard, the Tesoro Durandal. I don't remember the exact model number, but has orange backlighting, so that's cool.
Nice.
And that was like 115 after tax and shipping. It was marked down from like 150, and everybody says it's a great keyboard. And so I checked out. I've been wanting a mechanical keyboard for a while because I had this.
It just feels better.
Yeah, I had a Sidewinder X4 at home because I like the.
Oh, I used to use that. That was the one before my mechanical too. Those are good. That's a good keyboard.
It's a nice keyboard for a non-mechanical.
I think it's like, it was like $30-40 on Amazon. Like when I got it, I was like, man, this is pretty good. Red backlighting. It's nice. That's
a good price for that one. Mm-hmm. But it has this huge, like the space for your hand rest, like built into the X4, is like super huge, and so it took up a lot of desktop space. And I wanted a mechanical keyboard, so I got the Tesoro Durandal.
Mm-hmm. All right, Chris, how about you?
Yeah, so I kind of have the same case as Tom. I have a GT level 10 white combat edition.
Yeah. That case is actually pretty badass.
My roommate came in. He looked at it. So to give you a picture, it's a white version of the level 10. And he came in and he looked at it because I was like rebuilding it, and he's all like, "Dude, your new case looks like R2D2. It's fucking awesome."
It's expensive. It's like $250.
No, it's like $300.
Yours, okay, it's like $250, $300 is the price that I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it has amazing airflow. Stuff stays surprisingly cool in there. And the side door swings out really easily. You can swing it out.
And you can take it off easily too. You don't have to worry about thumb screws.
Yeah.
So basically, there's a hinge. You can lift the door off and take it off completely without having to deal with thumb screws.
And the fan that's built into the side panel doesn't have an actual cable. It's just a contact on the side, and you just take the door off. You don't have to unplug and replug the side fan every time you take your panel on.
Yeah, that's like nice. Super convenient. And yeah, another thing I like is there's also vents on it that trap the dust. So you can take them all out and clean them without having to do much work.
The air filters, they slide right out pretty easily. Mm-hmm. I guess if there's any drawback to the case is that it does not take 280 millimeter radiators. It'll take it to 40 just fine, but not a 280. Mm-hmm. It was just made before that form factor became too popular.
Yeah. What else you got, Chris?
So then after that, I'll go to my motherboard. I have a PZ68 Gen 3 V board, just a normal V.
From Asus?
Asus, yeah. It has two 6 gigabytes SATA, and then the rest has 4, I believe, just 3 gigabytes. And then I have 680, the liquid cooled 680 that we were using here in one of the build-its, or in
nice.
your previous build-it.
That's a nice card.
Yeah, so I'm using that. That's super quiet. I have an H50 for my liquid cooler. I overclocked my CPU to 4.5 gigahertz.
Oh, and the H50, that's pretty impressive. I wouldn't have thought that the H50 could handle a clock that high.
Yeah, I just, up to 4.5. It's pretty good. I get around like 68, 69 C.
That's nice.
Yeah, because that's when I'm running Prime 95.
What thermal paste are you using?
Thermal paste? What am I using? I have Arctic Silver 5.
Okay.
I put the thermal paste on like a year or two ago, so I don't remember like what it is. So
if you're implying that his thermal paste is some sort of key ingredient to his overclocking success, I would have to disagree with that.
Well, it can make a difference of a few C.
I disagree. Maybe in the future we'll yell about it. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay.
And then I have 8 gigabytes of G.Skill, just two 4 gig DIMMs that are 1600 megahertz. I have, for my boot drive, I have a Samsung 830 series 120 gig SSD, and then I have a Crucial M4 256 gigabyte SSD. That's where I keep all my Steam games, and then I have a 1 terabyte, which is like my storage drive. And then I took the SSD that was in my laptop, and I put it in.
So you have 3 SSDs?
I have 3. I mean, people are like, "Why do you have 3?" But I had one in my laptop. I took that one out.
You're our intern. What the hell?
Yeah, man.
Okay. The one of the SSDs I had, it was $70. That was it was a SanDisk.
Right.
So I was like, $70. That's super cheap for 120 gigs.
Well, that'd be a really handy cache drive for your hard drive, you know.
Yeah. So I took that out, and I was like, all right, put it in. I'm thinking about setting up because I just reinstalled because I just put Windows 8 on it.
Great.
Cool story, bro.
So I put Windows 8 on it. So I was like, since my board can do it, I was gonna probably do that as a cache drive for my 1 terabyte, and then I could have all my media, all my music and stuff on there. So that's the gist of my system. I mean, I have a Corsair 750 watt HX series modular power supply.
So what are you using for your monitor?
I have an LG E2250. It's like 3 years old now. It's a LED. I mean, the thing I like about it is it's super slim.
Yeah.
Like a really
user,
really small profile.
Mm-hmm.
1920 by 1080.
Wait, why do you care about how thin it is?
Makes it easier to lift and move around.
How often do you do that though?
Be surprised.
I mean,
I'd be surprised.
I don't know. I like the monitor. It looks good.
It'll break less when it falls off the table of the desk, because it's lighter, you know.
Here we go.
The embarrassing thing is the Apple commercial for once in my life is actually correct. It's just embarrassing.
All right.
It's almost like having him here.
Yeah.
We probably have enough sound clips from him to do an entire podcast.
I just remember
one podcast. You might never know the difference.
I just remember one podcast, like, this was like in the middle or something, like something happened, and he was just like, fucking Max. And I was like, when that should go in like in one of those, like, it was just too funny.
We should put a soundboard up on the website.
We need a more current
of
or
just
more
Gordon
current
ranting,
or more current like soundboard. It would just be funny.
We could update it every month or every few months, just like we do with the build-its or the blueprints.
I bet that would get tons of Facebook likes, shares, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, people would just go nuts. They'd be like, "Oh yeah."
We would have to put a profanity warning on there because I'm pretty sure that our website is generally profanity free. So
yeah.
Great story.
All right. Oh, yeah. So my system, real quick, I have a Core i7 3770K overclocked to 4.4. I have a Corsair H100i. It's cool with that P8Z77 Deluxe ASUS motherboard. I think I've got 16 gigs of Corsair RAM. I have an Intel SSD that I bought just because I wanted it to be I've had 3 SSDs fail. These are my OS drives.
Oh,
and it's
shit.
I'm the type of person where if I come home and there's I guess I should go into some sort of treatment program, because you come home and you find out there's no internet or whatever, or your computer is not available, you're just like
Unable to operate.
Yeah, if I'm going out for the night or whatever, like I'll be like, oh, I'll look at this later. But I'm also just like, what the how like I'm just used to being online all the time.
It's like missing a limb.
Yeah, I'm used to being online all the time. So when you come home and you find that your computer's sitting there at a black screen and it says, you try to boot it and it says like no OS or whatever, like you're just like, what? Like it is easily one of the biggest inconveniences you could possibly face, having your OS drive fail. Fucking sucks.
Man, you have like the worst luck with SSDs or hard drives. I've never had a hard drive fail on me, but I mean, I guess people.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just random. You know, it's totally random. I don't think I abuse them. I mean, I've had 2 SSDs fail now. So this one I bought an Intel drive. I just figured they have a really good reputation for reliability. So far so good. And I've got a bunch of hard drives in there. I have a 27-inch Dell that I use as my main display that I really like a lot. I've got a pair of Logitech speakers, Kingston USB reader. I think that's about it. I think that's pretty much about it. I use a Corsair. I use a Corsair K90 keyboard and a Logitech MX518 mouse.
What's your video card?
Oh, I have a GTX 690, but it's not bad. It's kind of noisy. Like there was times when I was playing Far Cry 3 where I had headphones on, and I would take my headphones off, and the whole computer sounded like it was about to hover off the ground. It was so loud. It was so. I mean, every fan was just like spun up to the max.
It's kind of hot in here. What's going on?
Oh, in my case is a Corsair G600T.
White though, right?
No, it's
black.
Gray. It's a black
Gray?
one, yeah.
Okay.
It's not a bad case. The only thing that annoy me are I can't when I put the H100 in there, I had to put the fans on top of the case in a pull instead of push configuration. That was kind of annoying because the instructions told you how to put them. The instructions for the cooler showed a 600T and it showed you how to put them inside. I had to go to their website, and the website they're like, no, sorry, it's on the outside. The fans are on the fans are literally the radiator's inside the case and the fans are outside the case.
Yeah.
So does it look weird?
It doesn't look weird because there's like a mesh grill on top there, so the mesh grill covers the fans. You can't see.
Oh, that's not bad then.
No, it works fine.
That looks all right then.
It works fine, but I mean my temperatures are actually pretty high. Under load they'll get up to like 84.
Talking about the GPU, I assuome.
No, CPU. He doesn't have liquid cooled. No, his GPU is normal.
My GPU, I don't really care. Those things, like I said, from testing them here, those things can get super hot, and nothing ever happens.
Huh.
So they can get hot. The CPU though, you can see problems arise pretty quickly when you start having a CPU overheating.
Well, just to let people know, Josh does run GPUs over the weekend with Furmark on them, and then he'll come back on Monday and this is according to Gordon, and he'll just be like, "Oh, it's still running."
He says a checklist, and did this melt? Yes or no?
Yeah, it's like, Furmark 48 hours. All right, cool.
No melting.
You know, the thing is, these systems should be able to, if you're designing, these cards are all designed to a spec, GPUs, CPUs, everything. They should be able to run at that spec for endless amounts of time.
So if you ever hear about the building burning down, you know who the person of interest is going to be at the top of their list.
No, I used to work for Hard OCP a long time ago, and we used to stress test systems when we were testing them, and like I actually would feel bad about this. Here's what we would do: we basically would take a system, and we would load up Prime 95. So we would fire up Prime 95, and it would basically run every single core in the system at 100%. Right. On top of that, we would start up a copy of Iometer. Right, so we would have Iometer running in the background.
So you're just trying to make the computer blue screen as fast as possible.
So we would have Iometer running in the background, running like 4K random writes for like 12 hours.
If this computer had a face, then we'd basically be punching it repeatedly.
Yeah,
I'm not done yet.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, let's add something else to it.
So we would do that, and then I know we would also run. And then we'd also run. I think we would run. Oh, here's they actually got even worse. So we would actually run one instance of Prime 95 for every core the CPU had. So we would run like if there was this is back in the days of quad core. So we would run 4 instances of Prime 95 at large in place large TFTs. So the CPU would be 100%. Every core is at 100%. I mean the little chart and task manager is just pegged at the top. Iometer would be running in the background. Then we would run. We'd fire up 3D Mark and let it loop for 24 hours.
And then we throw it out of an airplane.
So 3D Mark
with a parachute attached. We have a parachute on this thing.
But the thing is, there's no reason why that system shouldn't be able to handle those 3 tasks. There's no reason why. If it's been stable, and these are all overclocked systems usually too. But
Right.
if it's stable, if it's been tested, and it's been sent to us, and it's been
And it's in a refrigerator.
These are systems that, by the way, systems that are sent to us for review from manufacturers like Alienware, Main Gear, Velocity Micro. Those guys don't know. Those guys know what they're doing. They test these things before they send them out. So it was just a matter to see if it can actually handle a stress test. Not all the systems did. But you do the same thing here. If you overclock your system here, you want to stress test it afterwards too. Not to that level, of course. But all right. We're on a tangent. Let's get on here. Let's get moving on. NVIDIA Shield commentary. Thoughts on the $349 price tag. This is from Sean DeFries. He says, the only thing that's appealing to me is streaming my games from Steam. I have 1 desk, 2 computers. My wife's using the computer. I can play my games. The Shield should solve that problem. What do you guys think about that? Let's not go on too much of a tangent here.
The $350 price point does seem fairly optimistic, but then again, there are things the Shield can do apparently that no other device of it in its class can do. So I guess the question is, how niche are those extra purposes, those extra roles that it can fill?
A lot of times it's funny. These products appear out of nowhere because either someone hasn't met that marketing need, like Dropbox per se. I remember when Dropbox came, it was like, thank God, no more USB keys. Or so it's either it's a viable market or no one's thought of a slick solution yet, or there is no market.
Yeah.
So we're about to find out with the Shield.
It's an answer for a question that nobody asked.
Right. It's kind of like that's sort of what Razer did with the Razer that Razer Edge.
Yeah. I'm not saying that the Shield necessarily fulfills what I just said. I'm just saying that problem.
I personally do think it. When I first saw them announce the Shield, I was like, I've never even thought of having that gamepad, and that wasn't in a good way where you're like, wow, my mind's blown with the possibilities. But you're like, just like, I would never use that.
It's a good thing Gordon's not here right now because I'm about to use an Apple analogy. Apple actually is known for that. Is known for figuring out things that you didn't know you wanted until they told you what this product was, and then you're like, wow, like what they did with the original iPhone. At the time, the iPhone was kind of a mind blower, at least in America. And people were like, yeah, I don't know if I could use sort of a smartphone, whatever those things are, with the screen on it and touch interface, and then they show it off, and it's like, wow, it's an interesting product.
What do you think, Chris?
I don't know. I think it's like way too expensive. Like, if you want like a handheld gaming device, like you can get a PS Vita for $200 now. Just the Vita itself, it's $200. It's $150 less.
Are we talking about brand new? Like
brand new? Brand new at Fry's Electronics.
Okay.
So that's $150 less. It's running the same hardware pretty much. It's run this. I believe it runs
core.
I believe it runs on Integra 3. So you're basically getting Integra 3, from that. This one has a Integra 4. I'll give them that. It has a high resolution screen, which was 267 pixels per inch.
That's pretty dense.
Which is what, or I'm talking about, this is what the Shield has. So 267, so you're getting a pretty high pixel density screen, but it's like, I don't know, for $350, like, I would rather put that towards a GPU. You get a new motherboard and processor, or a new processor. I don't know. It's like, it's pretty steep. If you're going to play games, it's like, why don't you just buy something else to either upgrade your rig or something else? This
guy brings up a good point, though. If somebody else is on your computer and you want to play the games that are on it, I mean, I had not thought of that as a usage scenario. That's an interesting usage scenario. That definitely cannot be common. That seems very specialized.
The question is, how much is that worth to you?
But you also have to have a 600 series video card. If you have a 500 series, NVIDIA, so it's like, you have to meet those stipulations, and that's like pretty hard. Like, what if somebody has like a 560 Ti? 570,
or
a 590,
590
or an AMD card. It's like you can't use it, so it's like limited to like a very small amount of people who actually need that.
We're gonna with Project Shield, or I can say they just call it Shield now. I think all of us are kind of like
I'm in wait and see mode.
Yeah, we're all kind of waiting to see, but we're gonna move on to the next question. Let's see here. Matt Carney asks, does PSU quality, that's power supply, does power supply quality matter that much for overclocking? I have a TX 650, that's from Corsair, and I'm wondering if an AX 860 would help me make my 5 gigahertz 2500K more stable.
What does he have right now? First
TX 650.
No, that power supply is fine.
Well, what's his other hardware?
The AX
He's
series,
wondering, his basic question is, would a TX 650, so would going from a TX 650 to a AX 860 make a 5 gigahertz overclock more stable? 5 gigahertz, that is a pretty...
Yeah, that's pretty damn high.
That's a pretty high overclock.
Yeah.
And I think that those Sandy Bridge, those things they're really, I mean, in my personal experience, I got 4.4 out of mine, no sweat. I know ASUS itself has ads on the line that say 4.8 gigahertz on Ivy Bridge, no sweat, but 4.9 and 5 is like.
It's possible if he has a really nice custom water loop, you know. But the problem that he could be having, I suspect, all things being equal, is probably the sheer overclock that he's aiming for.
Well, his motherboard probably might not be able to handle it.
It could be
there's very few motherboards that can handle that kind of load.
Yeah, this does
and
not.
His RAM too needs to be able to handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't sound like a power supply is going to help you. So.
Because the power supply he's talking about too is $200, and it's 80 plus platinum. So I mean, unless he was running like dual video cards and he had like an insane amount of hard drives and stuff, like it's not going to help.
It'll get you higher efficiency. It has a longer warranty. I think the AX 850 is like 7 years long, whereas the TX is maybe 5, possibly 3. So that's a factor. But when it comes to like ripple and regularity of the voltage and the power coming in from the wall, a TX 650 or 750 is going to be fine.
Yeah, it's 7 years, like you said, for the warranty. So
yeah,
you're not gonna see a difference. I mean, the AC input isn't the same.
They're both based on Seasonic power supplies.
All right.
So.
Matthew Simpson asks, is it worth waiting for Haswell CPUs and getting an LGA 2011 motherboard, or are the Ivy Bridge CPUs a better way to go?
Well, it depends on what you have right now. If you have like a Sandy Bridge CPU, I think you're fine. Unless you have some specific niche uses for like AVX2 or SSE 4.2, which I don't think is in the Ivy Bridge. It depends on what did he say what he wants to use it for?
Well, no, he doesn't. They're actually. I appreciate these guys because their questions are getting shorter and shorter, which is awesome. Because before they'd be like, "Hey, long time reader." So, anyways, I have a system at home, and my brother built it. And what I was wondering, I'm asking people just to get to the question, which is awesome. But it seems like anyone with a Sandy Bridge or Ivy Bridge, there's no way you'd want to upgrade to Haswell. Like, I mean, they're not going to see that much. That'd be like going from a 560 to like a 660 Ti. You're not going to see that much difference. When you go one generation to the next, you very rarely see a lot of your big enough improvement.
If you're going, like for me, so I have a Sandy Bridge system for my desktop, but my laptop is a Nehalem. So if you're going from a Nehalem series, like a 920 i7, and you want to upgrade, you're going to see a big improvement over Haswell.
That'll be huge.
So that's what I'm doing. Like I'm waiting for Haswell, and I'm going to upgrade my laptop because right now I have an i3 380 mobile. It's a 2.5 gigahertz processor, 3 megs of cache. It's dual core, and I'm going to upgrade that. And
if you have a Sandy Bridge laptop, then Haswell might be a good idea.
Yeah, for integrated graphics, you're going to see like 8 times a boost from that, because it's supposed to be 4 times over Ivy Bridge. So
I think we're gonna have to wait and see and actually get our hands on with the thing. But on paper, Haswell has really good battery life. Like you can put that thing on standby for like 9 days, literally, and it has a better built-in graphics. So it's something to consider if you have a Sandy Bridge or older laptop.
Mm-hmm. I think also this is a related question. Leo Ledesma asked, "Will Haswell outperform Z77?" So I mean, I didn't think there's an embargo on like actual performance information, but you're talking about generation to one generation, so
it's usually like 5 to 10%. I think that's what it's been so far.
Right.
So,
I mean, in gaming, you're probably not going to see much of a difference.
We'll probably be able to answer that question in the next podcast.
Let's see here. Tim Sammartino says, "Man, I miss the old days of Boot Magazine when it was all about the technology and less about the advertising." Excuse me. So I don't know. I want to address this just because I'm not really sure what you're referring to, Tim. I mean, we're not on this podcast reading ads to everyone, you know. And then in the magazine,
Yeah, we don't have any ads on here.
Right. There's no ads in our podcast. And then in the magazine, the ads are sold by our sales team. We don't even see the ads when we look at the skeleton of the issue. It's just all where the pages of content are going to go.
Yeah.
We don't really see where the ads are going to be.
And we have pretty much the same amount of editorial content from one month to the next.
Yeah. The editorial content doesn't really change. We obviously need the advertising content to keep us in business.
Yeah.
So this has been an ongoing thing since the dawn of the magazine, which is that is necessary evil. We're not involved in selling any of it or anything like that at all. We don't even really look at the ads. I do look at those ads sometimes they have I'm into cats, of course, and they have these power supply ads where there's like a jaguar just sitting on top of a power supply or whatever. That's kind of funny to me, but
there might have been relatively few ads in Boot Magazine because it was a new magazine, and sometimes it's difficult to get people to buy ad space for a publication that's pretty new, you know. But after a while, they get comfortable, they get familiarized with the audience, and the ad sales has readership numbers that they can give to the people who want to buy ad space, and so you get more ads in the magazine, but the amount of editorial content doesn't go down.
Yeah, you can judge the health of a magazine by the number of advertisements that are inside of it. So, I don't know. I just wanted to address that. We are all still editors of the magazine. We're all we care about is content. You know, we don't think about advertisers or what our sales team's up to or anything like that at all.
I don't think we're even aware of who's advertising the magazine until like the last week or something.
Well, until everything gets thrown together, and then you see like what it's going to look like once it hits production.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So yeah, Tim, we appreciate you following us on Facebook. We appreciate the question. We're focused on content still, and as far as the ads go, I would just ignore them. Although we do have some, a lot of our good.
No, read the ads, enjoy them.
Well, the way ads work, I mean, I'm not an expert in ads, but the way ads work is very rarely do you look at an ad and go, oh my god, and then run to your computer and then log in and buy whatever it is. Usually it just kind of sinks in over time.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these print ads can actually look pretty cool because they tend to put a lot of work into them, at least for like Alienware and Dell systems. They use some flashy photography, and that's nice to look at sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of times, for people that are like us that like to sort of stare at hardware, a lot of times the ads can be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like porn for geeks. So,
I mean, for some of the ads, I'm just kind of like.
Sorry, we have a.
We have some.
Click down, dude. Click down.
There we go. There's a warning.
All right, so let's just do one more question, and then we'll get on to the end of the show. So,
do we need to worry about the warning?
No, that was for the camera from earlier. All right.
Okay.
So Justin Miller asks, what would you choose? Two-way SLI GTX 690 or two-way SLI Titan?
Titan. You gotta go Titan. Like, I mean, it's a no-brainer almost on Titan because, you have less GPUs like to deal with in SLI, so it's going to be more efficient because the more GPUs you add to SLI, I remember I talked to you about this, Josh, the less efficient it gets. So you're adding 4 cards, basically 4 680s that are on 2 cards, and the scaling's not going to be as good.
Yeah, going from 3 to 4 can make a
one GTX 690 is faster than one Titan,
but not by that much, right?
It's faster. I mean, it's enough that nobody would ever say that. Oh, it's close. It's faster, but. So the thinking here is that, well, if one's faster, then two GTX 690s would theoretically be faster. It may be in some games, but I mean, you're gonna get. Chris is right. Once you have 4 GPUs in SLI, you're talking about some serious. You'll have some scaling issues that's gonna reduce performance.
And also, what are you gonna use 4 680 GPUs for?
You could be running a widescreen multiple monitor. Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, if he has multiple 2560 by 1600 displays or something, but like I don't know what he'd be doing.
Well, the reason I ask is because when I'm helping people build computers, I do that fairly often on Reddit. They tend to overbuild in the GPU department. It's like, well, if you have a single 1080p monitor, you're probably not going to need those dual Titans, buddy. You can tone it down a bit, and if it turns out that you need that extra one, you can always throw it in later.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Well, I would go Titan also. That would be that's pretty much a no-brainer. Just because SLI Titans right now will pretty much run. I mean, that's gonna get you set for everything. For
at 2560.
Excuse me,
4XAA.
2560 4XAA for 3 or 4 years probably.
you also get more usable video RAM with the Titans,
How much? 6 gigs
which
each, right?
which
6 gigs?
matters when you're using like 3 monitors at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more question because I like this one a lot. This is from Matthew Blevins. He says, real question, how big of a deal is eye strain? How big of an issue is this? I've heard they aren't just bad for eye strain, but can also mess up your sleep schedule, et cetera, et cetera.
What are? What's bad for
eye
us?
strain.
Right, but he says that they are bad for.
I've heard that they are not just bad for your eyes, but they can also mess up your sleep schedule with the blue light. Any good solutions? Gunnar Optics glasses are so expensive, and they are too dumb to get that. Most PC users wear glasses, and they should offer a clip-on option. Gunnar Optics sounds like some sort of add-on thing or whatever. I don't know. What do you guys think? I know that if you're up late and you're looking at your PC monitor and then you decide I'm going to bed, like your mind is going to be up for a while.
Well, I seem to recall there was a paper released a few months back. It said LED illumination can induce insomnia. Like if your monitor or your room is lit primarily by LEDs, they can make it more difficult for you to hit your normal sleep cycle.
Yeah, I would use. One thing I do is this is maybe not the answer you want to hear, Matthew.
Don't use the monitor as much.
Well, get
off the computer and do something else.
Right. Well, it's not so much that. It's just that what I used to do that same thing. I used to just get off the computer, time for bed, and then you just lay there forever. And now I schedule time from when I get off the computer to when I'm going to sleep, usually about 45 minutes or so, that I can just relax and unwind. I usually just read books and stuff like that. But there's also there's also a Chrome. There's also a application you can download called F.LUX that will automatically adjust the white balance of your display according to the time of day. So it'll make it really bright from 9 to 5, and then it'll get nice and soft later in the day, so that's not quite as harsh and hard on your eyes later at night, early in the morning. Yeah. That's free. It automatically checks your time zone according to your IP address and knows exactly when to do it. It's pretty smart. Check that out. Oh, and actually, speaking of which, I almost forgot all that about that, you guys. Time for editor picks.
Well, it's funny you should mention sleep because one of my editor picks is an Android app that helps you regulate your sleep. It's called Sleep as Android.
Nice.
I think it's you can get a 14-day trial, and what it does, it basically gives you a reminder that you need to go to bed now, because it bases the bedtime raminder on what you say when you say you need to get up. Like what you set your alarm for. So I have my alarm set at 8 o'clock, and so it'll remind me at 11:45 I need to go to bed, which gives me 15 minutes to do my business in the bathroom, brush my teeth or whatever, and then go to bed. And then about a half an hour before my alarm would be scheduled to go off, it sets off sort of a mini alarm that's quieter than usual. It starts quiet, then it starts ramping up until it gets to the full volume, and it takes 10-20 seconds, because usually with the alarm in the morning it's blaring because you want it to wake you up, but it works better this way. It has a 5-10 minute snooze period every time you hit the snooze button. So by the time you actually hit your normal alarm time, you're fully awake because you've been gradually getting more and more awake every time this quieter alarm goes off, and I think it helps you sleep better. That's been my experience, and it'll track your sleep cycles over the course of the week. And then tell you exactly how many hours of sleep you've gained versus how you used to sleep.
It's a great story.
Yeah. Rich and compelling.
And rich.
No, I'm just giving you
great
some
story.
You're very welcome, Mr. Burgundy.
Oh, my thing kept going. All right. Cool. Thanks. Thank you. All right, go Tom. Or sorry, go Chris. I'm looking at my piece of paper. I'm sorry.
Okay. So I started playing Neverwinter. It's the new free-to-play online MMO RPG. By Cryptic, and it's
the City of Heroes and City of Villains guys, I think.
Yeah, the guys who made made that game.
Yeah,
and it's pretty fun. I've just it's your standard MMO. You get gear,
sword and sorcery, fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been playing that for a little while. You should check it out. It's in beta right now. So they took down the servers this weekend, but I don't know if they're back up yet. But yeah, if you get a chance to check it out, it's a 3.7 gig download, and then plus all the patches, which are like around 400 megs, so about 4 gigs total. And yeah, if you like MMOs, it's pretty cool. That's my pick.
All right. Thanks, Chris. So here's my pick for the week. This is a something that you may not have been aware of. Even if you were, this is a reminder. My pick of the week is the Android app refund policy. So just in case you didn't know, once you purchase a app from the Google Store, you have 15 minutes to try it, and you can apply for a full refund. So this is the text. It's on the Google website. Just to read it for you guys. It says you have 15 minutes from the time of download to return an application purchased on Google Play for a full refund. You may only return a given application once. If you subsequently purchase the same app again, you may not return it a second time. So basically, once you buy an app, spend 10 minutes using it. I mean, I do this all the time where I buy an app, and then the first time I use it, I go, "This is bullshit. I hate this stupid app."
Well, also you can get an app and you think you're getting the free version, you accidentally buy it before you've gotten a chance to test it out, because the Play Store doesn't really distinguish that much between you downloading something for free and you purchasing an app. I think it's designed that way to make purchasing very easy, but the flip side is I can make accidental purchases.
Well, the nice thing for Android users here, is Apple iTunes, the App Store, no refund policy. There's none. So this is definitely a nice perk for Android users. And here's how you can do it really quickly. If you buy a app and decide you want to return it, these are the steps to do from your device. Number 1, go to the Google Play Store on your device. Number 2, select Menu and go to My Apps. Number 3, select the app that you want to return. Sorry about that. Select the app you want to return. And then if the 15-minute window is up, you'll see a button that says refund. Select that option and you're good to go.
Nice.
All right, so hopefully that will work out for you guys. We got about 10 minutes left here. Now, Gordon's not here to do his rant. Chris says he wanted to try and step into Gordon's shoes.
Yeah. Okay, everybody's going to be like, Intern not doing a good job. Not doing a good job. You're trying to replace Gordon. Yeah, all right. You're going to say that. I'm trying. That's all I'm saying. I'm trying.
My fucking turn.
I'm trying, and that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not trying to replace him. I'm trying my best, and I know.
But come on.
It's probably gonna be.
What the hell?
It's probably going to be subpar, and it's probably not going to be as good. But here we go.
I'm sold.
Some son of a bitch in this office is. Just generally, fuck you. So have a good next year.
All right,
go ahead.
So my rant is Project Shield, and I think it's pretty ridiculous that it's $350 because who is gonna buy this? Like, I don't understand who's gonna invest in something like this. Like, are you really gonna be on your couch using this when you have a full-fledged gaming PC to use with your big 27 or 23-inch monitor? Like, I don't see anybody using this shit. Like to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why am I gonna spend another $350 so I can sit on my couch and look at a 5-inch screen like that and play like an FPS or an MMO on something that can't even play that? You can't. Like, what are you gonna play? Are you gonna play like games that are only support like controllers and stuff? Like, I'm not gonna play TF2. I'm not gonna play Neverwinter. I'm not gonna play Diablo 3.
Wait,
StarCraft 2. I'm not like, this thing is only for Android.
Wait, but the existence of Project Shield can't make you upset.
It's not upset. I just think it's like, I think it's just ridiculously like overpriced. Like,
the price, the feedback everyone's given so far is that this thing is too expensive.
Because I don't see like anybody who's gonna buy it. It's just like, holy crap, man! Like,
somebody needs a punch in the mouth, right in the kisser.
Yeah, so it's like,
it could be.
I just think it's way too overpriced.
It could be like the thing too. I'm sure you saw this, where HTC came out with their Facebook phone last week at $99, and then 4 days later, we lowered the price to 99 cents. It's just like
but subsequently it got discontinued, and that's probably what's going to happen to this.
Well, we'll find out. But yeah, a lot of times they don't know what the price is till they really know what the market is too. So it's theoretically possible. I mean, remember how tablets were 7-inch tablets were at, Apple came out at what, $329?
Yeah.
And now they're going down to like $199, $149.
You can get them for like $75 now. They might not be very good,
Yeah.
And that's another problem is that there's sort of this race to the bottom like we saw with netbooks.
I just realized too that I asked Chris to bring this letter we got in from a prisoner today, and then Chris is using it as a fucking mouse pad.
Yes,
my bad.
We should. I don't know if you know how this works, but we get letters from prison quite frequently because they get magazine subscriptions sent to them, and they don't have much internet access.
Yeah,
so magazines and newspapers they tend to read a lot, and so they write us back when they want to.
Yeah, I could go over his letter real quick.
Well, all right. Well, we're kind of out of the. All right, go ahead and read it.
Okay. Well, so he writes, he's confused about GPUs, and he's writing in so that we can resolve, a couple questions that he has. First, he didn't know why, companies like Asus, MSI, Gigabyte make AMD and Nvidia cards, and that was kind of weird to him.
Wait, are you going to read the letter?
Oh, I was just going to paraphrase.
That would probably take a while for him to read the whole thing. It's like 2 pages.
Yeah. I don't. That's why it's kind of like I don't know. I have enough time.
I'm content with an abstract.
Yeah. So he was asking. That's what he was asking, and he's like, "Why is AMD making Radeon cards now?" And yeah. Well, so basically the gist. Yeah. So the gist of it, AMD bought ATI. Back in 2006.
Right.
So that's where, that's why AMD makes Radeon cards.
It took AMD a while to get rid of the ATI branding, but they kept the Radeon part of the company.
Yeah, that was the funny part in his letter. He was like, "No, wait, does AMD make Radeons?" And he was like, "Wait, doesn't ATI do that?" Like it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, he also so he stated like, why do manufacturers like Asus make AMD cards and Nvidia cards? And the reason is, a lot of people don't know this, but, NVIDIA and AMD make their money by licensing out, their patents to these companies. And then the companies take those patents and make their own cards out of them, put their aftermarket or stock cooler on there based on those designs. So that's why if you're buying a card that's a Gigabyte card, that's made by Gigabyte. That's not made by AMD. Yeah. They're just using AMD's designs and then doing whatever they want with it within the limitations.
Asus is able to do both AMD and Nvidia cards because they have enough of a budget to do R&D for both both types of cards.
Yeah, and then I said, there are other companies that you just specialize in one card, like Sapphire, only making AMD cards. EVGA only makes Nvidia cards. Mm-hmm. So you do have companies that only do one or the other. Power Color makes only AMD cards. They don't make any Nvidia cards. Mm-hmm. So, there are companies that specialize in it. And then he also wanted to know just like the timeline of cards, which was kind of interesting for me going back and looking at all the different cards. Because, you have 6,000 series NVIDIA, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000,
And then it rolls over.
Yeah, and then it rolls over 200
300,
series.
400, 500, 600, yeah. So it gets pretty confusing. Yeah,
you go from thousands to hundreds and then back to thousands.
Yeah, and they flip-flopped yeah, so it's kind of.
I mean, if he had access to the internet, I'd just tell him to look it up on Wikipedia. There's probably a chart that'll explain it. But since he's writing from prison, it's like you'd have to give him like a white paper report that you wrote yourself to explain everything.
Yeah,
it must be it must be a fuck. Can you imagine being in prison and hearing about the internet? But not being able to access it.
Never having used it before. Like
that would be kind of crazy.
It's like explaining a rainbow to a blind person. It's like, what's your frame of reference?
There was also that guy from The Verge, Paul Miller, who took a year off from the internet, and then he just came back like 2 weeks ago, and he just said that. I mean, this has only been 1 year. I mean, if I asked you to go back 1 year and think about what the internet was like last year, and then fast forward to now, has it changed at all? You'd probably say not really. I mean, I can't think of any tangible changes that have happened. He said that the biggest thing that he thought was different was that everything seemed much faster. Like there was more information, more sources of information.
Yeah, I don't know how you can live without internet almost though. Like communication to like everybody that you know via email for free. Calling people for free, like there's a lot of stuff you do on the internet.
No, well, yeah, he had to call people on his phone and talk to them.
Yeah, no, but like it's still like emails.
There was no,
like
no email.
He had no email, so it's like that's still crazy living without email.
Yeah,
maybe we can discuss it next time, but we are sadly out of time for this episode. Thanks guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed our show. If you want to I'm trying to find my closing remarks here. All right. So, yeah, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it very much. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We're on iTunes. Check us out on, and also let me put a plug in for our forums. If you have any questions, we get a lot of questions from readers all the time, like, hey, I want to buy a system. Some guy today sent me an email saying I'm looking for a budget system under $500. Another question I got today was I want to build a system. Should I use Arctic Silver Ceramic or should I use Arctic Silver 5?
That doesn't really make a difference.
Right. The answer to him was whatever. But anyway, my point is we get a lot of questions, readers do. Editors do. But we have a huge forum out there, tons of really, really smart guys in there. So don't be afraid to go to our forums, fill out a profile, and start posting questions. You'll probably get a lot better answer from a larger community there. So check out our forums online. If you want to send us an email, go ahead and do that, MaximumPCPodcast@gmail.com. If you want to leave us a voicemail, we're a number you can call, leave a message, which gets converted into an MP3 and emailed to us, and we play it on the show if it's good, is 1-877-404-1337, extension number 1337. If you want to subscribe to the magazine, of course, we're still in print. If you want digital, we are on Google Play, iTunes, Kindle, Nook, and Zinio. And that's about it. On behalf of Chris Zele and Tom McNamara, thanks for listening, and see you next time.
Cool.
So they